Morning, everybody. You're welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. First thing this morning is I'd like to call out the Ikeja Electric. I got an SOS from some residents of Ajawa Estate. Some major parts of Ajawa Estate have been in darkness, I hear, for close to about 8 days. And I hope they will do something about it. I got an SOS from some of our listeners. Uncle Jimmy, help us tell them more. Okay, so Ikeja Electric. I'll be giving their representative a note or something to get in touch with you and let them have their light. Now, I said today that we are going to talk about the new tax policy of the country that the president has signed. In things like this, it's better if you concentrate on certain areas so we don't have a mix and end up getting away with nothing. So I have Mr. Albert Folorunsho here. Are you Mr. as our professor? Mr. is good, okay, because he's a tax consultant. He was introduced to me, and in introducing him, I'm told that he's exceptionally brilliant in that area. He's blushing about that. We need to let people know. So he's a tax expert. And just sit back, listen. At the appropriate time, we'll open up our lines 0201277093 and 020146579190. At face value, I think this is some development that sounds, I'm choosing my words carefully, that sounds pleasurable. I'm not a tax expert, and honestly, I don't know the way these things work, so I can't give a judgment on whether it is good or bad. But he took an active part, not just in putting the policy together, but he even took part at the National Assembly level to make sure that the reactions you get from the House of Reps and that for the Senate are in sync. The president has signed the bill, but it hasn't yet been gazetted. Good morning. We'll call you Prof so that so it will be very sweet because I've been told that you're one of the best in the. You can't run away from that. If coming from who it is, you can't run away from that. Good morning. How are you?
Very well. I'm good.
This new tax policy, so that we can put that behind us, is it good news for the average Nigerian or bad news? I'm not talking of the politics in it, but generally for myself, Sheriff, people generally, is it good news or bad news?
Of course, when you have a change,
yes.
When you have a change at this time for something that we have had and we have been operating, some of them for so many years, some have become aged and archaic.
Yes.
Some have become routine. So many of them are out of tune with current realities. We can see where the exchange rate is. We know what has happened in the economy. So definitely having a tax law, a tax reform at this time to align with a lot of the reforms that are also being done by the present government is definitely going to be good news.
Should be good news, not that it will be.
It should be good news
it
for
should be
everyone.
Good news,
yes, definitely.
Okay, so what are the highlights? What do you say are the highlights of this policy?
Okay, so we used to have all our taxes fragmented all over the place. We have several long lists of taxes, from personal income tax to company to petroleum to, a long list. But this now has streamlined and put all of the taxes into 4 buckets for ease of administration to enhance revenue collection. The first one has to do with the Nigerian Tax Act, which contain all of the taxes that anybody is liable to pay and who is liable to pay them. Okay, that is the Nigerian Tax Act. Then we have the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, which governs the proper administration of all the taxes, the authority that are responsible for the administration of the various taxes for both the federal, the state, and the local government. That is contained in the Tax Admin Act. Then we have the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act. That centers on the authority that is responsible specifically for collection and reporting and accounting for all taxes and levies and charges that are due to the federal government and the federation. Okay, to the federation, because the federation, also includes the state and local government. Some of those taxes collected by the NRS are shared by the 3 tiers of government, and of course that also informed the change of the name from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, which tends to looks like a tax authority for the federal government, to what we now have at the Nigerian Revenue Service, which is more, expansive in terms of coverage.
This is like a lecture at LBS. So let me break it down to what my people at home will understand. Okay. Question number 1 is, the federal will collect taxes, the state will collect taxes, and the local government will still collect taxes.
Correct.
That by the new...
So collection of taxes is governed by the Constitution.
Yes. So I just want so that my people at home will know.
Okay.
Now, this new act, does it give room, for example, for consultants to collect tax on behalf of these 3 tiers of government?
There's no provision in the law that gives the consultant the right to collect taxes. They can only, assist the authorities. There are relevant authorities of government that can collect taxes.
The new policy doesn't call on the government to strengthen their tax collection system without using consultants?
So the provision, they can only use consultants only on areas that are not core revenue collection. Number 1, very important, is the fact that consultants are not allowed to collect tax on behalf of government. They can only assist in the processes, maybe data gathering, information review, investigation, and at the end of the day, they turn out this information to the relevant tax authority, who have the constitutional right and the provision of the law to collect those taxes and account for them.
Well, that's the political side of things, that the politicians will take care of that.
All right.
But also, the average business person who owns a shop, what kind of taxes will they be asked to pay now? There's something like, I heard something like, if you earn below 250,000, you will not pay at all. Is that right?
No, that's not what it says. So,
what does it say?
Okay, they in terms of corporation tax.
Yes.
So there are now threshold as to of those who are liable to pay tax and those who are exempt. So what we have in the law, it used to be 25 million and below, but what we have now is, like I said, it has not been gazetted. So I will just be speaking to copies I've seen around. Okay, so what we have is 50 million and below. And in some version, we have 100 million. Even people are still complaining that the 100 million is low, because if you convert that to dollar, that is just $32,000. So, and they are referred to as small companies. So if you are a small company, if you are defined as a small company, okay, which is your turnover is either 50 million or 100 million, at the end of the day, we know, we will see what it comes to. And your asset is 250 million and below. Your asset, your fixed asset as a company is 250 million and below. Then you are classified as a small company. And as a small company, you are not eligible, you are not liable to pay income tax, corporation tax, which is currently 30%. You are not liable to pay corporation tax. 2, companies are required to file VAT returns, which means you collect on behalf of government and then you file. If you are a small company, you are also exempted from that filing of VAT returns. Okay, and
so if you are a small company, you don't collect VAT.
You don't collect VAT, except you opt out of it, as provided this, because you can say that, because if you don't collect VAT, it means that if you suffer VAT, you can also not recover it. So some people think that my business is genuine enough, and therefore I want to opt to be part of a collecting agent.
This is understanding these things is a big challenge. So, I wasn't bright in school. That's why I wasn't admitted to Igbobi. When it comes to figures, you can laugh all you like. But you said something that caught my attention. You said the versions that you have seen. Are there different versions of what has been signed?
So I've not seen the version that has been signed. Until a law is gazetted, you cannot speak to it confidently that this is the law. So until we see the gazetted copy, we cannot.
Because there's a rumor in the rumor mill that there might be various versions of what has been signed. That happens with every document anyway. All kinds of things are forged.
Well,
so it comes into effect after it has been gazetted.
Yes, and
That's good.
And they have also stated at the point of signing the effective date, which is January 2026. So it will become effective January 2026.
So from now we shouldn't pay anything.
No, there is the existing laws.
I just wanted to.
We have extant law, and that still subsists, and everyone is still able to pay their taxes.
Okay, so we'll start taking. One hour would just zoom off like that, and I know people will have loads of questions that they might want to ask. So you can start calling in now. Some publicity material said that poor people are going to benefit from this. How?
Okay, so when you say poor people,
that if you are below some income threshold, you will not be asked. You'll be classified as too poor to pay tax.
To start with, the provision of the law as presently passed,
yes,
like I said, I'm also referring to copies that you have seen, is that if you are a minimum wage earner, you are exempted from tax. Okay? So that tends to cover what you tend to say is poor people. In addition,
what's the threshold?
The threshold for exemption on the tax table.
Yes, minimum wage. Yes,
800,000 per annum. So the first 800,000 of your income is taxed at 0%.
So if you're working as a driver, house help, whatever, or in any venture and all you earn is 800, you can go scot free.
Definitely, because if your income, in fact, it's not only your income. If you are a trader or whatever, and you earn 800, you still have to take out your expenses. So at the end of the day, the income may even be lower. So if you earned 2 million and you have expenses that you have incurred in the course of earning the income, and at the end of the day, you have incurred like maybe 800. So you have a balance of how much? Of 1.2 million. So that 1.2 million is the one that we will now start assessing. And in assessing the 1.2, you first take out the first 800 at 0%.
And that's what I'm saying. If your total is 800.
Yes, net income.
So it's net income. So does it have an age limit? Because I'm a pensioner, 70 plus. Does it have an age limit?
There's no age limit
to paying tax.
As long as you earn income, you should pay your tax. You should, in fact, the older you are, you should be paying more. Since
look at this man. Look, all of you should go to YouTube and Facebook Live. Look at his suit and tie. Look at poor me and poor Sheriff. No, Sheriff is wearing a designer shirt, so you are out of it. Look at me, I'm wearing some Tokumbo jeans here.
But the truth is that in some climes they give more relief to older people, so you get age-related.
What the corporate sector are not worried about. They have a clear understanding of these things. The part that worries me is that of the ordinary man. Where you find local government people going around with stick and whatever, demanding this payment and that payment, advertising money, that one money. Is all that now incorporated in the tax policy? Okay,
so you're talking about all the other nuisance taxes.
I'm glad you. I was afraid I didn't want you to charge me for contempt. So nuisance taxes.
Yes. So the Constitution. We go back to the Constitution again, where you have what they call the exclusive list, which is the one that federal government legislates the concurrent. And then we have the residual. So all of these nuisance taxes that will probably come under residual, which are under the purview of the state.
So this policy doesn't affect states and local governments?
It does. I mean, it's a national law that has been passed, okay? But these ones that you're referring to are not ones that the National Assembly can just legislate on.
I see.
So they are under the purview of the state and local government. But it's part of the work of the committee to ensure that all of those nuisance taxes are done away with, and that is why, if you look at the profile of the revenue coming from this tax reform, the bulk of it are going to the state and local government. You have the VAT majorly to the state at 55%. You have 100% of stamp duties going to the state. So by the time they look at the impacts and the fact that personal income tax go to the state, and the fact that high income earners are going to pay more under the personal income tax, and all of which are going to the state, they will be willing and accepting a situation where all the nuisance taxes that are militating against business will be done away with. Okay, so it's not something that can be enforced and does not come under this law. Those law were passed in 1998 under Decree 18 of 1998 that classify taxes that are collectible by the state, local government, and federal. And so those taxes are still there, and engagement is ongoing with state governors. By the time they see the impact of this, they are willing and ready to do away with.
But they are not bound by law to do so.
Not immediately. And that is why some of them even require constitutional amendments.
What is the politics behind VAT? Where some people claim that, okay, in some states, for example, there's a ban on drinking alcohol, but when proceeds from VAT are being shared, those states will still want to take part of that. What is the politics of it all?
Okay.
From a professional standpoint, not the political.
Okay, so VAT is a consumption tax.
Yes.
Okay, and it is charged on both goods and services, except they are specifically exempted or they are zero rated. I can explain that later. But the bottom line is that VAT is consumption. And for consumption tax, should ordinarily go to the state where the consumption takes place. So the focus is where did the consumption take place. And if you look at the current sharing attribution of the VAT, it is now, because there are controversies as to if we base everything on consumption, there are some states that will be not so change, but their revenue will reduce drastically because of the consumption. So, and of course, because of the companies, before now, it was based on where the companies that are producing those items and the bulk of which are going to Lagos. Okay, and that is why we're advocating, let it spread across. So the landing at the end of the day was that 50% will be based on equality. Okay, 20% will be based on population, while 30% will be based on 30% will be based on place of consumption.
Okay, what about this situation now where you have, let's take Access Bank for example. Their headquarters are in Lagos.
Yes.
They have branches all over Nigeria.
Yes.
Where do their workers pay tax to? To Lagos?
To Lagos, where if you are resident.
No, is it where you are resident or where the headquarters of your organization is? That's what I mean.
So we're talking about personal income tax now. You have moved away from the VAT. We need to understand that.
That's around everything. So.
Okay, so for personal income tax, you paid your tax to the state where you are resident. Even if you are working in Lagos and you live at Ogun State.
Mowe and all these places.
Exactly, you must pay your tax to Ogun State.
Sheriff, too,
Yes.
Where do you pay your own tax?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't pay tax?
I pay tax.
You live in Ibadan.
Yeah.
But you work, what is
So technically, I live in Lagos.
You don't live in Lagos, you work in Lagos, but you live in Ibadan.
No, technically, I live in Lagos.
Is there any technicality in
There can be technicality.
His home.
There are some people that stay more in Abuja, but they have their residence in Lagos.
Okay, so what is the definition of residence?
Okay, the place where you are on the first day of the tax year, which is January.
1st of January, you are in Ibadan.
Because sometimes, and that is why we have the joint revenue board.
It's a laughing matter now, but
Yes.
I know that it's a serious bone of contention.
It has always been, because we have states like Ogun and Lagos fighting over that.
Yeah. Some people.
But that is why we now have the joint revenue board, who are responsible for resolving dispute between state tax authorities.
So when you are paying your personal income tax,
yes,
you probably have to indicate your address to your employer.
Definitely, so that they will pay to the appropriate tax authority. Yes, you must indicate. Because if you have to do anything in that state and you need
a tax clearance,
if you don't pay to the state, then they will.
Do we very quickly? We don't have less than a minute. Are we still going to be having to carry tax clearance around, or are we going to have a tax card or something like that?
Whether it is tax card or tax clearance, it's just the same thing. In fact, it's even online now in some states. And you can just show details of how much tax, the fact that you have paid your taxes. Yeah, there's still some limited provision in the law for representation of tax claim, but it's no longer what we used to have.
Oh,
Where
okay.
people are pursued up
Okay.
and down.
Before we finish this tax argument, I have to take a break. And when we come back, our lines will be open so that we let you. It's an endless discussion. He will be here a few more times so that we can have a well-rounded discussion. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
This is Nigeria, where every new day brings a fresh chance to dream bigger, push harder, and live confidently. But true confidence is more than hope. It's knowing that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you're protected, empowered, and ready for the journey ahead. At Sanlam Alliance, we believe confidence isn't just for a few, it's the right of everyone. That's why we have come together, uniting the strength of a Pan-African giant and a global leader to give you the financial protection and solutions you need to succeed. Because when we come together, we protect more, we achieve more, and we all rise together. Sanlam and Alliance is now Sanlam Alliance. Sanlam Alliance. Live with confidence.
When you chop better breakfast with the new Peak Dairy Creamer, your belly go full. Full belly means say morning waka go well. When morning waka go well, it means say your day go good.
Oga, this new Peak Dairy Creamer, now the same with Peak Full Cream?
No, Peak Dairy Creamer na from skimmed milk for tea and coffee only. While the Peak Full Cream milk na ogbonge milk from cow's whole milk.
Taste breakfast goodness with the new Peak Dairy Creamer at 130 naira only.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
No be party jollof this same.
Abeg, make nothing hungry you again today.
Na your pregnant wife dey follow talk so.
Neighbor, abeg.
Abeg neighbor, just one spoon.
No wahala.
Chef, wetin be your secret?
Now, Mr. Chef Seasoning Powder. Mr. Chef Seasoning Powder get spicy stew, goat meat, fried rice, and roasted beef from great aroma to great taste.
Elevate every meal with Mr. Chef Seasoning Powder. Chef.
Success is like an aeroplane. You only see the graceful flight high up in the sky, but not the roaring, powerful engines propelling it. Likewise, in the world of e-payments, you only see transactions done, funds remitted. But who pioneered these financial technology solutions? Well, you knew it as ValueCard, now Unified Payments, Nigeria's premier financial technology service provider. Yes, it starts here. Find out more at www.up-ng.com. Unified Payments, unifying businesses for people.
There's a sound rising from Africa, a sound of worship, a sound of awakening. This is Tape 2025, the African Praise Experience. On Friday, the 11th of July, the city of Lagos will resound with praise as thousands gather at the Rock Cathedral Lekki for a night of glory. Join Pastor Paul alongside some of Africa's most anointed voices: Israel Houghton, Yunus Oyeko, Nathaniel Bassi, Adeyinka Lasheori, Onos, Prince Emmanuel, Bidemi Olaoba, BJ Sachs, Gaze Baba, Eben, Mr. M in Revelation, Limo Blaze, Ima Oh My God, Minister GUC, IB Quake, and the Lagos Metropolitan Gospel Choir. Tape 2025. Be there. Friday, the 11th of July at 8 p.m. at the Rock Cathedral, Lekki. This is not just a sound, it's a signal that Africa is awakening to its divine destiny.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development and the care they need with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics to help your child's digestion and development, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. And all of these work together to support your child's development and growth today and tomorrow. NanKid 4. Nourish your child's potential.
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Jane, 25 years old. She's been having troubles acquiring a loan from her bank.
This is not okay at all. I've been on this queue forever, and you're saying I should fill another form. What's going on?
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Frank, 27 years old, held up in traffic and making fruitless transactions.
Mama, I have saved the airtime, even the electricity charges. I don't know why it's so difficult making this payment.
Introducing Safri, a lifestyle digital bank that's designed just for you. With one click, you can make easy and fast payment transactions, pay bills, and even acquire easy loans. Hurry and download the Safri app on your Play Store. Visit safrisafri.com for more information. Safri, borderless banking.
Remember the name Arenas Plus. When malaria strikes, Arenas Plus. Remember the name Arenas Plus. When you feeling down, Arenas Plus.
Arenax Plus is the name to remember when you need to beat malaria with ease. Arenax Plus is a combination of artemether and lumenfantrine and is effective in the treatment of malaria in adults and children. So the next time malaria strikes, remember the name. Arenax Plus beats malaria with ease. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see a doctor. Available in pharmacies near you. Arenax Plus is a quality product from Swiffer.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You're listening to Jimi Disu right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to the Daily Digest, and I still have Mr. Albert Folonshaw. Is it Folonshaw? Albert Folonshaw?
Albert Folonshaw.
Albert Folonshaw, who has a very intimidating profile. But we will get to that some other day because time is not our friend. We have a caller here now. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning, sir.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning to your guests there.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me say my own comment. A good one because they have, let me say, divisionalize it. Local government having their own, state having their own, even federal having their own. Now, this division, is it, I want to ask your guest, he should answer it. Is it for the benefit of the poor, let me say, for the whole Nigeria, or they are just doing it, let's just use it to just carve fun?
Okay, your point has been made to save time.
Wait, let me explain.
You have only 1 minute. You have only 1 minute. We don't have that kind of time to waste. We'll incorporate your remark in some other remarks we'll take, and they'll take all together to save time. Please, when you do call in, remember that you have 1 minute. You don't need to greet everybody. Just say your name and go on. And collate your thoughts together so you don't waste so much time. We have another caller. So you'll take his comment along with the others. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Engineer Kundara from Ikorodu. I want to ask your guest.
Yes.
Yeah, what is the provision in the tax laws that gives organizations like the NURTW and RTN to collect check and dues and so on from people?
Good
and
one.
what is their position in the new tax reform act? Thank you.
Okay, go on.
Thank you very much. Let me start with your question because what you just mentioned, what we just classified as nuisance tax, they are not backed up by any tax law per se, except those ones that has to do with market stall and all that. But all these, they just they are not in the tax law. They are not taxes per se. They are maybe you are paying for using a park. Okay, I mean, so which means they are rendering you service. They are rendering you service. That's what it means. So, and you know, the government, the state government, are the one that give some of these people the platform with which they operate. And like I said, if with this reform and they see the benefit and the increase in their revenue as a result of the implementation, they are being enjoyed, you know, to do away with all these nuisance taxes. And we are confident that will be done, particularly when even the National Security Advisor believe that some of them have security implication, and
Yeah.
they're already engaging with the state governors to ensure that all these taxes are done away with.
Or levies, because it comes
what?
under different market levy and so on and so forth.
Well, levies and taxes and charges, whatever name you call it, some of them are really not backed up by any law.
Is there anything in this new provision that spells out how and where taxes can be collected? Like, is there any provision to try to prevent this kind of nuisance tax that you're talking about?
Okay, so what has been provided for, like the Tax Act, specify those who are liable to pay tax. What you need to have, we have what we call the tax identification number for all eligible taxpayers, which will through which you are supposed to make your taxes, and of course, it also specifies who you pay what tax to. Those that are payable to the federal government, like the company income tax, the value-added tax, those are payable to the state, and some of them, depending on who you are. If you are a company, you definitely pay to the Nigerian Revenue Service. Okay, if you are an individual, you pay to the state where you are resident. And these are specific taxes that are, have been specified in the law. Personal income tax for individuals, company income tax for companies. Okay, and of course, there are transactional taxes too. VAT is transactional taxes, and it's payable by anybody that engage in any vatable transaction. Okay, so they are specified. The second question was on is talking about divisionalized. There is nothing like divisionalized. It has always been as provided in the Constitution. There are taxes that are payable to the federal. There are some that are payable to the state, and there are some that are payable to the local
that
government.
has not changed.
That has not changed.
Is there going to be some move to change the constitutional provision for? Do you think there might be any? Is there any thinking behind that?
Definitely. The committee have outlined areas that we think the National Assembly cannot just, proceed to make legislation. There are some that need a constitutional amendment for them to be possible, like where you have VAT, for example. Is it under concurrent or is it exclusive? There are some states that have been saying that it is strictly due to the state because it is under what? It is under the concurrent. And therefore, if you really want to streamline some of these taxes, you have to amend the Constitution.
Okay, we have another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning. This is Joy.
Morning, Madam Joy. How are you?
Yeah, so what I want to ask is if this is not addressing money for the boys, like I call it, right? And also, when you go to markets, you want to buy market, and somebody's going to tell you, later, right? You pay for that one, you pay for, and you see truck pushers are paying money, you call this one, that one is not tax, right? And it's affecting the cost of goods that will buy in the market. So if it's not addressing it, to me, I don't know, it's just wearing same clothes to different person. You are in a bus, 5 different persons will come to collect money from the driver. What do you call that? It makes transport system expensive. So this is what is going to affect even the poor people. They will say that, yes, there is a tax law. I'm feeling it if I've not seen them on the road. All you're saying is for whatever state government, this and that one. We don't know it. Poor people don't know it. What we see is what we're seeing on the road, what we're paying for, which is making it expensive for us.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
You still have food for the boys.
Thank you. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Financial, I think that doesn't even fall under any kind of tax at all.
No.
That's extortion. And
yes, more or less.
Unfortunately, for political reasons and other reasons, because I hear that the net that those sums that are contributed, some of it actually goes into a pool, and the net by which it is distributed and which it covers is far beyond what you and I would imagine. So it is a form of extortion we will try to resist, but given what we hear, given the kind of recipients, and it's a lot of money I hear. It's a lot of money. The little 200, 1,000 is a lot of money put in a pool. That's a political question, and I'll relieve you from that. So we can.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'll relieve you from that. So we can go to the next. Hello, good morning.
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 Yeah, my name is Peter.
Boyinlon from Shango Tedu.
Yes.
Please, I would like to ask guest, because I've been listening to him and has talked about a lot of things on the tax, but have they considered, what is the state for the unemployed? Because at times you go to some agencies, you find that the unemployed must also pay tax. People are not working. How do you categorize them? Is there any vacuum for them? Good morning.
Okay. He's worried about the unemployed.
So tax is on income or profit or gain.
So if you have no income.
So if you don't have income, nobody can ask you to pay tax. So there's nothing like asking unemployed to pay tax.
Okay, so what does the new tax policy say, for example, about religious houses? Whether, because by my own thinking, they should be paying tax. They make humongous amount of money. Indeed, some of them make money and plow it into business. And I believe that I'm one of those who believe very strongly that everybody must pay tax. Religious houses, name it.
Okay.
Is there anything, any exempt or whatever for them?
So there is a exemption for in those what you call income that are not from any trade or business, maybe tithe, offering, donations.
Business, so
yes, they
tithe is business.
But if the religious organization use those money to set up a business, like you have some churches having printing press, they print a lot of books. You have them having hotel and even guest house where their people stay when they come for camping and all that. Those are business ventures.
Okay, what about if you? But you see, we need to be careful. Unfortunately, politically, it's difficult to address because of people's sentiments. Okay, so you collect all these big monies. It's humongous amount of money. And you don't invest in business, but you can use it to buy things for yourself and use it to enjoy yourself, buy houses, buy this. Don't you think, this is a difficult one, if you don't not disposed to it, you can say you won't comment on it. But don't you think it's about time we looked in that area? People like us work hard, we do things like that. If somebody who says he's a pastor gets about 5,000 times more than we, and he doesn't pay tax on it.
Okay, so again, you need to look at...
It's an income.
Yeah, well...
Income, for pastor.
So if you pay money to the church, you cannot say it's an income to the pastor.
It's an income. What else is it?
So
what else is it?
It's a contribution for a cause. So the question is, what did they use this money to do? What did they use those money? If they use those money to invest, or even building house, they pay VAT, and that is why a lot of people are moving away from normal income tax and going to transaction taxes. The churches are not exempt from those transaction taxes. If they go to the market and buy anything that is vatable, they pay the VAT.
But so does the man who pays tax.
Pardon?
So that if I have an income, I'm a worker, and a man who is a pastor is not a worker, he pays the 10%. He was in the new
VAT,
and he gets first fruit and all these things. It's not taxable.
First fruit from where?
You don't know anything. You have not heard of first fruit.
You know, in Nigeria, there's also no capital transfer tax. I mean, when you gift a gift to somebody, or like you have in UK, if you give somebody a gift, you pay tax on it. But we don't have that in Nigeria, where.
So the new policy is silent on things like that.
Of course, I mean, like I said, if it is not an income that will generate
income, income means something incoming. What is the definition, Sherry? What is the definition of income? Something that income, that is income. Wale income.
I have situation where people that are pastor like that buy vehicles and they register them with the Lagos State. Lagos State will write them.
That is transactional to everybody.
It's not transactional.
But this income goes.
They need to be able to justify where the money for they have. You know, when you have income, you must use it. So when you're using those money, maybe to buy car, to buy that, then you have to justify to Lagos State that this money you have generated it.
I'm going to change my profession.
Yes.
I have become a pastor. Let's play. Because income is income. And if we don't face the truth about that, that's nothing to do with you, sir. Yeah. I'm just giving my own frustration. If you don't streamline these things. That's why every other person you see who's unemployed now puts pastor in front of his name.
Today,
Yes.
today, gift is not taxable in Nigeria.
So, okay, so tithe is gift. It's not income.
No, tithe is not to the pastor, it's to the church. So the question is, what did the church use the money for? Then we can start talking about tax. I don't. Tithe is not to the pastor.
Okay, let me look. Let me, because they say he has come again now. Let me.
Hello, Uncle Jimmy. Good morning.
Pastor Ladipo. Wait first.
Good morning, sir.
Is this Pastor Ladipo? It's not the one.
Mr. Ben calling from.
Oh, God bless you. I thought it was Brother. I want who come. Please go on.
Okay, sir, please. This government is not supposed to be talking anything about tax at all.
Why?
Because you have to first of all create an enabling environment. Uncle Jimmy, I generated electricity by myself. I dig borehole.
That's a political statement.
I constructed. I secure
so do I.
myself.
So do I. See, Oga, that's another.
Carry security. I carry security go to farmland to protect me to farm.
That's
the government is not paying my children's school fee. In UK that I am mimicking now, they pay 40% tax, and their children from primary to university scholarship, and the parents receive a lot of allowance for giving birth to such children. Why is this government talking about us? You are receiving tax from
Mr. Falonshaw, wait.
You are receiving tax from electricity.
Mr. Falonshaw is here to talk about tax. He's an accountant. He's not here to talk about the politics of that. Leave that one to us. Let him go. We will talk about that when we face ourselves. Sure you get. I don't. He's here as a professional. He's here as a tax. He's going to talk about the tax, not about the politics of it, which I align with. Though I'm not saying what you have said is wrong. It is the same way that I feel. I have solar. I have this, that. I dig borehole. I did all that. But right now, at this moment, we are talking about that, and I don't want my guest to run away. It's too late for me to get another guest, and I want him to come back. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, sir. When we're talking about the Agbero extortion, you just wave this as a political thing, but on the church, you were like very, very down with that. So I don't know which one is more. Which one affects us more?
It depends on the individual. It depends on the individual.
Okay, sir. The informal tax from these guys that causes the price of goods and services in our society to go up, or the church. Which one should you put more emphasis on? Because
I ask you that question. Which one do you think? Go away. I'm sure they shop inside church money. That's why you're saying this now.
You should put your nail on that one and leave the church alone.
I cannot leave the church alone. We will leave Mr. Followers out of all this. I knew it would happen. And that was why I was specific when I introduced him that he's here to talk about tax. Leave him out of the policy. After he has gone, maybe next week we'll face ourselves on that one. Let's pick the next one. But you will pay for this protection, no?
Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning. Morning.
Good morning, Uncle.
Yes.
This is Pastor Ladipo.
God don't catch you. Shay, you heard what we've been talking about.
Hello from Orilego. Yes, sir. Uncle, I believe that the taxes, people that are supposed to pay tax are supposed to pay tax. Anything that comes to the church is not taxable as in form of tithe. And if the church eventually use the money to go into any form of business, either build or building a life, whatever, either investment business, they are liable to pay tax on it. That is certain. And I believe the man has explained enough on that area. Even in US, they do what is called, you see, the truth is, when you give for, they register churches under charity. That is where they register church. When you go to CAC, they register them under charity. So whatever gift they are giving to the church is not taxable. But if the gift is being used for business, it's taxable.
So, Pastor Ladipo, so what is your conclusion? What is your submission?
My conclusion is that you don't pay, like, tax on time.
Anyway, that's a political question. The program was virtually. I think let's take a last caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Yes.
This is Godwin from Lapwest.
Yes, Mr. Godwin.
We have heard series of this type of policy and good theoretical whatever from this government. How am I sure that it will not go the same way? In the time past, in the same government, they say that subsidy, they are going to use it for hospital and whatever. At the end, they use it only to buy cars and to take care of themselves. Ordinary person doesn't have anything benefiting from it. How am I sure it's not the same way? Only to use it for themselves, and at the end, the ordinary one continue to suffocate in the same process.
Thank you. That's again a political question, but is there any nexus between these new policies and something that ties the hand of government to performance? Is there any safeguard? Because just like we might laugh over it, gloss over it, but people do feel that when they pay these taxes, it's not put to what I would call proper use. Is there any protection for the citizens that takes care of this?
So
accountability and so on.
Yes, there is a provision in the law for proper accountability in terms of what the relevant authorities have collected and accounting for it. There is provision for them to publish their account more regularly. I mean, the tax authorities.
Is the provision by law? Must they publish their
Yes,
account?
it's by law.
By law?
Yes.
Within a certain period?
Yes, it's by law.
Okay.
But the question is, the tax authority have no control of what they have collected.
Yes.
In fact, after collection, it goes straight to the federation account. And they are even paid, I mean, they are made, their own activities are backed up by National Assembly provision, which means they have to even make provision for their funding.
Okay.
Yes. So again, on the new provision, the implementation is still 1st of January 2026. So it's a good. We still have a good.
We'll have enough time. And with that, Mr. Florence was making a promise that he'll be back again. And like I said, one day when we are going to talk about the politics of tax, Mr. Florence will not be here because he was part of the panel, and I'd like to excuse him from that for reasons that he understands. But we thank you very much for braving it to come here. When you talk about tax in public, people get it's a very sensitive matter. But I'm glad. You can see, but I'm glad you came. That's where we'll end it for today. Tomorrow is Friday when we. I don't have a guest tomorrow, but tomorrow we are going to try to catch up with Ibisho Fekun, the 69-year-old papa who is currently riding from Dublin by motorbike coming all the way to Lagos. We'll do that in the first half. Then in the second half, we'll have open mic where this discussion can happen about ties and so on and so forth when Mr. Forocho is safely in his house or his office. One more time, sir. Thank you very much. Sheriff, yes, sir. We are part of the debate tomorrow is where is your residence? It's Lagos. It cannot be Lagos. It's Lagos. We will put that tomorrow. But then, thank you for being around. Yes, that's why we draw the curtains for today. What's Up Lagos comes up next, so don't go away. Bye.
Round the clock, it's engaging.
From news to sport.
And other conversations all day. Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Round the clock, it's engaging.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens.